It's more like the players' feeling of them not being able to do the endgame and why they couldn't do the endgame. So, Honkai Star, I feel like as a game, team building is like the gimmick. Maybe Genshin's gimmick is reaction system. Wuthering Wave's gimmick is the intro outro skill. Zenless Zone Zero's gimmick is the ass cheeks. Honkai Star's gimmick is the team building. I would feel there are more players that want to use 3 teams than more players that don't have 3 teams. Endgame will never remain the same difficulty for the next 10 years, right? They will have to increase this over time. Fucking give DOT a new fucking DOT, right? All these kind of different units and their credit, it is what sells Honkai Star as a game, right? Because it is based on team building and character design. It's not so much about the islands, but they make the actual bosses like, they make it like 50% legendary. Everybody is gonna be chilling.
Easy as well. That's why I said like there needs to be a little bit more balance. Because the two extremes, they're both not too good. It's either too easy where it's brain dead, or it's like too difficult where, you know, you need to crack your brain open for this kind of stuff. 3 team is a solution. Yeah, I think 3 team is honestly the best way to go. It allows you to play the most amount of teams and have the most amount of fun without sweating that much. And then they do the 3 teams by lowering the content for everybody. That would be like the best way to go about it. Okay, and also right, the clearing thing of whether or not me proving that an account can clear. I also kind of realized that at the end of the day, whether I clear or don't clear with this, it's just gonna lead to a scenario where, oh, he plays the game a lot, and then that's why he knows. So like at the end of the day, like even though I love doing it myself, it doesn't really demonstrate any point at the end of the day, and like, it only does harm for my channel. Because then you have people ended up they will use this as an excuse to just start war, and it's like what's the point, man? So yeah, I'm kind of just chilling. MOC 13 to 15 will be so Pokke. Yeah, they made that. They make more MOCs with 3 team will be pretty interesting. Like they up until MOC 12. Is that they technically did it last time, right? You technically had to use 2 teams up 1 team up until 10, 2 teams from 11 to 15. They could just make 3 teams from like 16 to 20. That would have been like a pretty easy way to go about things as well. Yeah, like we just can't have I think this is a pretty good thing. Right? I think the whole Pokke was a pretty good thing, but we just can't really have good things in life because at the end of the day, it does more harm than good. So like, just forget it. They could just give a 36 stars reward at 35. Oh, the reward is really not the issue though. Like this rewards is not the main thing. Because even if the rewards aren't there, right, people will still feel like, okay, why the fuck is this endgame like so difficult? It's more like the players' feeling of them not being able to do the endgame and why they couldn't do the endgame. So that's like the main thing. And then new player trial characters. Oh my god. They should add trial characters in MOC 12. So if you can't clear, you just use their trial character. So everybody will have D-Herta, everybody will have Agleia, and then the banner sales for all the games will just go to 0. Okay, you know what? I'm not gonna put anymore. I'll just use the trial character, and then nobody pulls for all these kind of waifus anymore. I'm dead, bro. Yeah, just chill. Alright, just go and play League of Legends. You save up for 200 patches, and then finally go all in. If they remove, okay, I think removing Jade, people are gonna be fucking upset. Alright, they're definitely free to, especially free to play. They want the Jades. Bob wants the Jades. I want the Jade, right? But it's less about the reward, but more so about why you couldn't get that reward. A buff selection would be cool. Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, buff selection is pretty good. Like instead of this just being one single buff, and you have to bend. Okay, wait. My counter to the buff selection is what if I just keep choosing trotters? Trotter, and I only choose trotter. I feel like this buff thing, they probably designed it to upsell in the first place. So I don't think they would intentionally let you, change the buff. It is a pure vision airport that let you change to kind of play with the old units. But I don't think they would let you change this, essentially. Just building up one more team, right? It would be so nice, guys. Because I have all these units, and this is from like, okay, to be fair, I'm a CC, I pull for everyone, or except for Unity, which I'm going to be pulling very soon. But like, I have all these units, and unless I'm doing it for like a content or a challenge, I would just never use them. Alright, at least it's my job, I can use them. But like, if I was like a meta player, right? For example, if Hagrim is meta, what the fuck would I play Rammus? You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no point for me to choose this character over the other when they are just 2 different teams I can use them in. 3D won't happen because it will not benefit new players, it will benefit veteran players. I think 3-team happening, you know what's crazy? I feel like it's just bound to happen. It's either they make a 3-team content, which they already did in Daily Assault, or they just introduce another endgame that demands more from demands you to have different coverage. But I think 3-team is like the easiest way to go about it though. Because they technically increased teams before from this. Alright. They increased the team from 10 to 11. They can just do it again. It's a super straightforward, super easy. And then once they increase the team roster, they reduce the difficulty. So all the 3 teams can clear free. Or even if they don't, right? They made the cycle count go up to 30. You know what I'm saying? So like instead of 10, 20, so clear in 10 cycles, you clear in 20 cycles in 3 teams. I think that will also make it a lot easier. Because now you could just theoretically do like a 0 cycle first half, and the other 2 teams just 10 cycle, 10 cycle. It will also make the distribution of cycles a lot more flexible for players. The counter side to the 3-team argument is you are forced to use 3 teams. I do think that for Honkai Starbucks especially, right? Because there's really not a lot of degree of freedom, degree of expression in your dodge, in your parry, compared to Zenless, Zone 0, and Genshin Impact, or even Wuthering Waves. It is legit, you build this team, that is like 80% of whether or not you can clear. Alright, the rest of the stuff is like you learn the mechanic on the but that team is what determines if you have a good time. So, Honkai Star, I feel like as a game, team building is like the gimmick. It's like, maybe Genshin's gimmick is reaction system, Wuthering Waves' gimmick is the intro-outro skill, Zenless Zone 0's gimmick is the ass cheeks. Honkai Starbucks' gimmick is the team building. Because there's really not a lot of things you can do in Honkai Starbucks, which also leads to them pushing for more units, right? 2 units back to back. You pull for all these stuff, all these different synergies. You have DOT, follow-up. There's so many different teams, like quite literally different types of teams, right? I feel like we can agree for like in Zenless Zone 0, for example, it's either your anomaly or your crit DPS. There's not too big of a difference here. Sometimes you have a quick swap burst, sometimes you have a on-field burst, on-field DPS, burst DPS, but essentially just these 2. And then for Wuthering Waves, I feel like Wuthering Waves is also kind of similar. I don't really feel the Spectral Threads will be a new... It's kind of... they all kind of play like, okay, support plus your DPS and just go. Whereas for Honkai Starbucks, it's like, you have the way you output a damage is super different, right? So, because of that, I think I would feel there are more players that want to use 3 teams than more players that don't have 3 teams. I would think that is the case in Honkai Star Rail specifically. But yeah. Don't you think 3 team is just delaying the inevitable and it'll become like the current state of... No, the reason why 3 team is not delaying the inevitable, because now they don't need to scale the difficulty vertically. Because of the fact that right now, right, you have vertical scaling since there are only 2 teams. And because there are only 2 teams, you basically have 1 best in slot, 1 best in slot. That's it. So in order to make this scale for more, because the end game will never remain the same difficulty for the next 10 years, right? They will have to increase this over time, all the time. So you either do this vertically by making like shit like this thingy, or you make it horizontally. So you introduce different bosses, different mechanics, but you make their actual difficulty lower. So you can actually encourage players to build a variety. And you know what's crazy? They can still earn money. They can still earn money from 3 team. So instead of incentivizing players, okay, you know what? They are... Okay. This is a diabolical tinfoil hat theory, right? We've seen from Aglaya and 3B, they are making them really, really strong in their E1s. Right? E1 Aglaya, E1 3B. Right? Or even to the extent E1 Sunday. Or even E1 Field, right? A lot of their E1s is like... I think that is their drive. But the flip side is, if you make 3 teams, they wouldn't have to sell for islands anymore, right? They can just make the islands a little bit less crazy, but then they still push out for all these credits at the same time. So you are incentivizing players to pull for these different units, so they could technically still earn money from the normal FOMO, all that kind of stuff. It's just that more players will be happier because they can use the units that they pulled for last time without impacting. Because the bad thing about islands is, if you scale the power level to an island, it means that your future units are gonna feel like, okay, if I don't have this island, it feels like shit, right? Which is, I think Aglaya is a pretty decent example. You have no Sunday, no E1 Aglaya, you might feel a little bit scuffed compared to if you had Sunday E1 Aglaya. Well, on the flip side, if you don't lock it to islands and you diversify and make different units, fucking give DOT a new fucking DOT, right? A 4th super break, another HP scaling DPS, all these kind of different units, and the credit, it is what sells Honkai Star Rail as a game, right? Because it is based on team building and credit design. It's not so much about the islands. And I feel like I am cooking something here, right? So that's what I feel. Yeah, that's what I feel. I really don't even think it will lose them money, since you are gonna able to release more units to tackle all these kind of different stuff. It's just, instead of focusing on the islands, focus on the actual units themselves. And I think people will probably feel happier pulling for units than pulling for islands than general player performance. If players have 3 well-built teams, they can rotate the environment to kind of make it. Because this argument wouldn't hold true, because if you were to use it for the same guy that only has 2 well-built teams, then what? You would still have to be subjected to the elements and whether or not you can fit the mechanics, whether or not you're 2 teams or 3 teams. But at least you have 3 teams, there are greater degrees of freedom for you, right? In terms of the cycle count, in terms of which team is stronger, which team is better, and you can mix and match more, right? Having the option is always better than not having the option. Because if the same guy only has 2 built teams, he won't have an option, right? You build an island and just brute force everything with 2 teams. Whereas if you have 3 teams, you can still kind of make it. Oh my god. They could make 4 stars great again. I have not touched on Ting Yun for 5,000 years. Because I have all these things that work more synergistically. So the moment they open up 3 team, they could even see a rise of like usage of 4 stars. Just because we have a greater degree of like flexibility. You have way less, or you have a fixed amount of credits for 3 teams instead of 2 teams now. The reason why there is a fixed number of credits for 2 teams is bad is that's assuming you don't have enough units. If you don't have enough units, then you feel like this 3 team thing is a bad thing. Which is why I brought up to the previous point. I think more players in Honkai style have at least 3 teams built. Maybe new players, not immediately, but I feel like more players would... Like, you shouldn't just have like 2 teams after like playing this game for 2 years. Or like even 1 year. Yeah. I want 3 team content if the HP go down. I think that literally solves everything. Because the problem right now isn't because, you can't clear, right? It's because the HP is a lot. And you're taking too many cycles to clear. Especially if you do not put a very up unit. So if they build, but they make the actual bosses like... They make it like 50% less HP. Everybody is going to be chilling. People that want to chase rifles, they'll chase rifles. People that want to be meta players, they can still do the 0 cycle, they can still do the fancy mechanics on kind of stuff. It's like a win-win. More fights are better than longer fights. Oh my god, you're so right. Which is why League of Legends is better than Dota 2. Nobody is gonna fucking play Dota 2 for 1 hour, right? Nobody wants to do that. Whereas if you play League of Legends, 1 game is 30 minutes. Boom, right? More fights are better than long. That is the exact best scenario. Like, absolutely. Make it like Daily Assault. You can use that. Oh, that is also true. Yep. The Daily Assault, build 3 teams, but if you clear with 2 teams, you get full star clear. I think that's also completely fine. So you can just do like a team 1, team 2, and then a team 3 just run like, I don't know, pure 4 stars for team 2, or rather team 3, and they just all die, but you still get 3 stars. I think that also can be a way to do it. So it's kind of like optional, but it's not really optional. Maybe slowly you can build up towards the 3 team. Yeah. You have coomed your last coom, my man.